That familiar buttery smell filling the kitchen comes from more than just butter. The bag itself has drawn nearly as much scientific attention as what is inside it. Microwave popcorn is engineered specifically to pop evenly using targeted microwave energy. After processing, they are ready for packaging. This is grocery science. Today, we look at what is really inside microwave popcorn. Some butter-flavored bags contain more than half a day's recommended sodium in one bag. One bag lists 3 ingredients. Another lists an entirely different, longer formula. By the end of this video, you will read that popcorn bag very differently. And popcorn can be a genuinely healthy whole-grain snack. The details depend on the formula. Diacetyl was a chemical compound historically used to create an artificial butter flavor. In the early 2000s, workers in flavoring manufacturing plants developed a severe lung disease. The condition, bronchiolitis obliterans, became commonly known as popcorn lung. This disease resulted from very high occupational exposure levels, far above typical consumer exposure. Occupational health researchers studied diacetyl air concentration levels inside these manufacturing facilities directly. Quality control workers microwaving around 100 bags per shift also developed notable symptoms. Major manufacturers announced they would phase out diacetyl from butter flavoring by 2007. Occasional home consumption exposure is far lower than the levels linked to worker illness. Checking specifically for diacetyl on a modern ingredient list is now a fast, simple check. Most major consumer popcorn brands have now removed diacetyl from their formulations entirely. This remains primarily an occupational health story rather than an ongoing consumer safety crisis. This history is one part of the fuller picture worth understanding about microwave popcorn. Microwave popcorn bags need a special coating to resist grease and hot oil. PFOA, a compound in the PFAS chemical family, was historically used in bag linings. PFAS compounds are sometimes called forever chemicals because they break down extremely slowly. A 2019 study using CDC data found higher PFAS levels among regular microwave popcorn consumers. PFAS exposure has been studied for potential hormone and immune system-related health effects. Manufacturers have voluntarily phased out certain legacy PFAS compounds from bag production. Newer substitute compounds used in bag linings are still undergoing ongoing safety evaluation.
Some brands now specifically advertise PFAS-free bag linings on their packaging.
Stovetop popping using a plain pot avoids any specialized bag lining chemistry entirely. Air poppers use hot air alone, avoiding both bag lining and added oil concerns. Food packaging chemistry remains an evolving area of ongoing scientific research and regulation. Regulatory bodies in multiple countries are reviewing PFAS usage limits across food packaging generally. Comparing bag popcorn to stovetop or air-popped alternatives directly addresses this specific concern. Bag lining chemistry represents a separate concern from the earlier diacetyl and flavoring story. Choosing stovetop or air-popped methods sidesteps both of these specific historical concerns. Sodium is a major contributor to flavor in most commercial microwave popcorn varieties. Some full-size butter-flavored bags contain over 1,000 milligrams of sodium total. Health guidelines recommend adults limit sodium to about 2,300 milligrams daily. Regular high sodium intake is associated with elevated blood pressure and cardiovascular risk. Palm oil and hydrogenated oils are common saturated fat sources in flavored popcorn formulas. Saturated fat content varies widely between butter-flavored, kettle corn, and plain popcorn styles. Kettle corn varieties typically add significant sugar alongside their salt-based seasoning. Sweet and salty, but high in added sugars. Calorie content per bag can vary substantially depending on added oil, butter, and sugar. Most people eat an entire bag, even though many bags list 3 or more servings. Multiplying the per-serving numbers by total servings reveals the true full bag total.
Choosing lightly salted or unbuttered versions meaningfully reduces both sodium and saturated fat.
Popcorn itself, before any flavoring is added, is classified as a whole grain food. Plain, air-popped popcorn provides meaningful dietary fiber for relatively few calories. Among common snack foods, plain popcorn offers a notably favorable fiber-to-calorie ratio. Sodium and added fat remain the 2 factors most changed by heavy flavoring. Modern butter flavoring still relies on flavor compounds, even without diacetyl specifically. Current labels often list both natural and artificial flavor within the same ingredient statement. Natural flavor on a label can still legally represent many different chemical compounds. Artificial butter flavor typically contains no actual dairy content, despite its buttery taste. Some premium popcorn brands now use real butter, listed directly as a dairy ingredient. Real butter versions are not automatically lower in calories or saturated fat than artificial ones. Checking whether butter flavor comes from actual dairy or a synthesized compound satisfies different priorities. Some flavored popcorn includes yellow food coloring to enhance a butter-like appearance. TBHQ sometimes appears as a preservative within popcorn seasoning or flavor coating packets. International food safety bodies have evaluated TBHQ and set an approved usage limit. At approved food levels, TBHQ is not classified as a carcinogen by regulators. Comparing ingredient list length across brands often reveals meaningful formulation differences within the same category. The first 3 ingredients by weight reveal the most about a popcorn bag's actual composition. Comparing several brands side by side often reveals surprisingly large sodium differences. Understanding these patterns lets you choose microwave popcorn intentionally, not just by craving. Plain kernels popped in a simple paper bag avoid both diacetyl and specialized bag lining concerns. Stovetop popping with a small amount of oil offers direct control over added fat and salt. Air poppers use only hot air, eliminating added oil entirely from the popping process. Adding a small amount of salt or nutritional yeast at home allows precise flavor control. Home-popped, lightly seasoned popcorn typically contains a fraction of a flavored bag's sodium. Buying plain kernels in bulk is often less expensive than pre-packaged microwave bags. Dietitians generally recommend popcorn as a favorable whole grain snack when prepared simply. Comparing cost per serving, bulk kernels are typically significantly cheaper than pre-made bags. Popping popcorn at home can be a simple, shared activity alongside its nutritional benefits. Preparation method remains the single biggest factor shaping popcorn's overall nutritional profile. Check for diacetyl on the label, check sodium content, and consider stovetop or air-popped methods. Choosing lightly salted varieties meaningfully reduces both sodium and saturated fat intake. Switching to an air popper for regular use avoids bag lining concerns entirely. Seasoning plain popcorn at home allows full control over sodium and added fat. Portioning popcorn into smaller bowls helps align intake with an actual single serving. Plain kernels remain one of the most affordable whole grain snacks available per serving. A few extra seconds reading the label can meaningfully change what ends up in the bowl. Knowledge about ingredients is not about fear. It is about informed, confident choices. We started this video with a simple bag popping in the microwave. Behind every bag of popcorn is a formulation history involving flavor, packaging, and safety. The evidence shows sodium content and preparation method are the two details most worth checking. That understanding gives you a real choice, rather than just a convenient one. At Grocery Science, we examine food through evidence, not to generate fear. Coming up, what is really inside ketchup and the condiments sitting in your fridge door? Thank you for watching Grocery Science. Stay curious. Stay informed.